So it's time for our next Mercury retrograde, and this time we find ourselves experiencing Mercury retrograde within the sign of Cancer. So in this video today, I just felt called to just do a brief little supportive share in regards to how you can work with this retrograde period. And honestly not fear it. I feel like there's a lot of content that's out there that really talks about like surviving Mercury retrograde. And I feel like just when, like, if we're thinking of Mercury as a planet, it does speak towards our nervous system. And when I just hear the word surviving something, that brings about some anxiety and anxiousness, at least to me and my body. So I really have found that over the past couple of years, I really like to treat these periods of times where I actually get to just digest a bit more of what I've moved through for the season since it last went retrograde. And honestly, I think that this is such a supportive way to work with Mercury retrograde, because when we're thinking of just this time in general, really when any planet is going retrograde, the whole idea is that, you know, there's this illusionary backwards dance from the perspective that we have here on Earth. So it's not as though Mercury's legitimately changing its orbit and going backwards, because I couldn't even imagine what that might do to all of our gravitational pulls if the planets just literally started shifting directions. That might make things a little wonky, but you know, so I think it's so important to remember that, you know, it's all about perception and how we're rotating around the sun and how Mercury's rotating around the sun, and these moments where we come to this point where it looks like, you know, perception is everything. But nonetheless, and you know, also just like some attributes for Mercury, this like trickery, or I think this like playfulness as well, right? This not being so serious. So I find that sometimes when I've taken the time to reflect during these periods, I've noticed like, wow, where have I been so deep in my logical mind, taking things so seriously that I've kind of taken away the magic of life itself. So I have no notes whatsoever. This is me speaking from my heart. So if you want to stay a little longer, I invite you to do so. And thank you so much for being here. Please do say hi below in the comments if you feel called to do so. And yeah, let me know, how do you already connect with Mercury retrograde? What does it feel like in your body when you hear that it's coming up? Indeed. So to start off, we always want to see, like, where are we being oriented when Mercury is going retrograde? So I already noted that Mercury will be going retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So Cancer is a cardinal water sign, and it is this essence that can represent, I mean, quite a few things, but to just name a few, Cancer can speak towards the archetype of the mother, or like our mother line. It can speak towards the quality of how we find nourishment. Cancer is ruled by the moon traditionally, so Cancer can really speak towards these habits and these patterns and this instinctual nature that we've gathered throughout our life, and how we kind of initiate through emotion, and even I would think through reaction from emotion. Also, when it comes to Cancer, when we're thinking in a more esoteric lens, it's this representation of how spirit is coming down into matter. So I know that the most supportive thing when we're working with any sign is to also remember its relationship to other signs. So even though we're going to be experiencing Mercury retrograde in Cancer, it's actually going to be really supportive to us to resource Capricorn energy as we're moving through this time. And then I think that's how we can like start to really recognize how we can gather, just like as the moon gathers light from the planets and gathers the light from the sun and reflects it back. So, but nonetheless, so just naming some of those potential topics, because those are things that might kind of come up and arise. And I've been already contemplating, if you didn't know, I like contemplating. And I was just thinking back to when we had our Mars retrograde in Cancer, which I believe was, was back towards the end of 2024 into 2025. And then we've already experienced Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. That was within this past year. And then now we're meeting Mercury. So it's very interesting how we've kind of been refining in the house of Cancer from how do we allow our emotions to drive us, and do we actually allow for processing before just acting, with Mars in Cancer in that retrograde. And then with Jupiter in Cancer, it was a bit more of this. Cancer invites a bit more introspection because it is ruled by the moon traditionally. So there was a bit more of this reflective internal quality of growth and expansion, and definitely of, I feel like for the past year while Jupiter has been in Cancer, because it will be about to move into Leo on June 29th of 2026. But I've just been asking myself what actually brings me nourishment, and not from obligation, but from like pure, like, it's just, I don't want to say joy because I don't think that's the right word, but it's just when you just do something because it's just like I literally just want to do it. It's like, it might not be joyful as you do it, but you want to do that thing. You want to nourish that. You want to cultivate that and support whatever that thing might be and growing, right? And I think that's an essence of Cancer. It's this awareness of what we love deeply, what we care about deeply, and what we do want to cultivate and what we do want to nourish. And I love that, like, you know, the start of Cancer season is when we have our summer solstice. So it's this peak light, and this moment of celebration. And to me, I really do feel like, because Mercury is stationed retrograde, not too far from where Venus and Jupiter went conjunct around June 9th, I believe it was, or June 8th. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I really think that this is about reflecting through all that we've matured through within the sign of Cancer, and inviting ourselves into honestly being a bit more vulnerable within the way of how we're communicating based on what our needs are, and recognizing that it's okay to have specific desires and wants and needs. And also, I feel like recognizing how through our mind, sometimes we might deny ourselves those things that we're wanting because of old beliefs or habits or patterns that are kind of keeping us in this illusionary veil that whatever it is that we might be wanting is very far away, or that it's not attainable, or what have you. So, you know, it's kind of really speaking towards some of these stories. And I'm saying all this to say that if you just think back towards whatever's kind of been arising in your emotional body since June 12th, of 2025, or 2025, geez, June 12th of 2026, that will give you a lot of insight of what might be asking for a bit more nurturing and nourishment and refining within your life. And it's really interesting because the word I keep hearing for this retrograde period when I'm in my more meditative, contemplative spaces is re-inspiring. And I think that that is so beautiful because we're going to be having Jupiter move into Leo, and this growth that we've been experiencing, a yin sign of Cancer has this more inward, downward, like home-based focused. And with thinking of Leo, I like to think that like we're actually going to be getting a little bit more permission for this outwardness and expression and in connection with others. So it's about re-inspiring the desire to want to connect and to know that there's other people out there who might be desiring the same type of connection that you're desiring, or the same type of expression that you're wanting to express. And, you know, maybe you just haven't found those people yet. So, so I do think that, you know, Mercury retrograde is a great time as well to just think of our connections, because it is through our connections that we're sharing information and we're giving new ideas and inspiration, and we really do like act as mirrors for each other. So as we're moving through this time, really just being gentle with yourself and honoring that, like, you know, we're gonna have the full moon on the same day, a full moon in Capricorn the same day, that Mercury stationing retrograde, and then that Jupiter ingressing into Leo. And we're having a few more shifts that will be happening. So there's a lot of resettling. So now at this point of Mercury retrograde, it's such a great time to just kind of get really clear on, like, you know, where is home for you? What does home feel like in your body? And I think outside of a physical space, and like, what does it mean to feel comfort, to feel safety? And in what ways have those things been cultivated? And who are those people, things, places that you love? And how can you recognize the life that you've been cultivating? And if there are things that you're still not maybe finding gratitude in, then what actions can be supportive to cultivating the change that's needed to invite in more and more choices that really bring about a life that you want to continue to nurture and cultivate moving forward. So I feel like that's all I have to say. So I do hope that that was supportive to you. You can let me know down below if there was anything that pinged, if you have any thoughts. I'd love to hear it. And I was thinking of potentially doing intuitive readings for the elements of the zodiac signs. So if that is something that you're interested in, you can let me know down below as well. Because if there are beautiful souls like yourself that are interested, then I'll do it. But otherwise, I'll just wait until inspiration hits for the next share that I'll do. I totally forgot. I did create a free thriving during Mercury retrograde guide. It's very contemplative. It's like touches on some of these things that we talked about and has some journal prompts. So if you do want to download that, you can download that on my website or at the link down below. And yeah, that's it for me. So take care and stay blessed. Until next time. Bye.